What if PSG wins another Champions League?
Yeah, and hear me out. We're all talking about who's going to win the Champions League, but it's just going to be these, because they're better than everybody. Who's going to beat them?
No one can.
They're one of the best teams in the world. They're incredible.
Leather, because this PSG side are too good. They'll rip them apart.
And that's why they are where they are.
If they do it again, that would be a staggering achievement.
That's not just history, it's a takeover.
Doué turning, Doué curling it, it deflects over Lamardashvili, and it's the opener for PSG.
PSG with Luis Enrique, it seems they're starting to peak.
Once, it is proven. Twice, this stops being about PSG. It becomes the story of a new domination across all of Europe.
Ousmane Dembélé peut être dangereux. Ousmane Dembélé qui trace le chemin de la gloire et tire de l'entrée de la surface.
No Mbappé, no Messi, no Neymar, no superstar, no problem. More than just a team, PSG is now a unified force of top-tier prospects. Absolute and unbeatable.
Coutinho's ball in. Oh, he's up marked! João Neves! And now Paris Saint-Germain lead.
De penalti. ¡Oye, el error de Asensio! ¡Hombre al suelo! Acaba de marcar el primero de la semifinal.
Shedding the glamorous image of a wealthy French giant to wear the armour of a king, the City of Light cast a shadow over all of Europe.
To play, but I can accept losing to a team like PSG. For me, they're absolutely outstanding, a joy to watch.
Nice ball, Dembélé! And he does not hesitate. A cannonball that pings off the post.
Parc des Princes, the Park of the Princes, but the graveyard of those who dare to challenge the king. Domestic competition is only a test. Europe is the true destination. Success is no longer the objective. Redefining the modern football era is the mission of PSG.
We're trying to do something different. We have the Ballon d'Or, we have Faro, we have Desiree, Marquinhos, but the biggest stars for us is the team, and this is what we're trying to do, and to play and enjoy our football.
PSG are not just progressing, they are destroying. Bayern Munich, pretty good. But is that enough to challenge the throne of Paris?
It's going to have to be a special team and a special performance to be able to beat this version of PSG.
The individual quality is just different level. You go through there from back to front and they're all superstars. Yeah. Every single one of them. And they're playing with conviction, they're playing with pace. They'll take some stopping.
For many years, PSG's always been an unanswered question. A team capable of creating moments of brilliance with names like Kylian Mbappé, Neymar Jr., Lionel Messi. Players who can decide a match with just a single moment of skill, yet cannot control the most important moments of the Champions League. They once came very close. The 2020 final, where Mbappé had chances, Neymar had moments, but in the end, PSG still left the pitch without the trophy.
Well, the teams are ready for the 65th final of a competition that started well over a year ago between a team from France and a team from Germany. Of course, are unique tonight. There are so many potential match winners in both teams. It's an 11th final in the competition for Bayern and an historic first for Paris Saint-Germain.
In this game, it's a lovely ball, that.
Fantastic. Paredes picking out Kylian Mbappé.
There's a chance now.
It's Mbappé to Neymar. And Neymar again. And Neuer for the second time makes the block. Di Maria. Now Herrera. Oh, it's a wonderful ball. Oh, it's over.
Thiago.
Gnabry with the ball in. Here's Kimmich. Here's the chance for Koeman, who blows the full-time whistle. And Bayern Munich are champions of Europe for the 6th time. A team that's been an unstoppable scoring machine has capped a record-breaking season with the biggest trophy in club football. A great team full of great players. The Kylian Mbappé is crestfallen. It wasn't Neymar's night by any stretch of the imagination. And for the 6th time, Bayern Munich are European champions.
Not because they lacked quality, but because at this level, just one small detail is enough to decide everything. And that was the very nature of PSG at that time. A team filled with world-class stars capable of exploding individual moments, but unable to maintain control throughout the entire match. One positional mistake, one lost duel, one broken transition, and everything collapses With each Champions League season passing, the same question returned. Can PSG turn all those outstanding individuals into a truly winning system? And then they changed, not through money. Of course, they're rich. True greatness didn't lie in the brilliance of stars, but in the strength of their orbit. When that unity is perfected, the shift becomes unstoppable. Under Luis Enrique, PSG began to be rebuilt from its structure. They let go of their brightest star to find their strongest soul. PSG is no longer about Mbappé. It is finally about PSG.
Neymar Jr. to Al Hilal. Here we go.
Lionel Messi set to leave PSG at the end of the current season.
Salut à tous, c'est Kylian. Voilà, je voulais m'adresser à vous. Voilà, c'est ma dernière année au Paris Saint-Germain. Je ne vais pas prolonger et je vais terminer mon aventure dans quelques semaines.
New names have emerged to form a new generation. Vitinha, João Neves, Warren Zaïre-Emery bring control to the midfield. Hakimi and Nuno Mendes provide structured width. Meanwhile, Dembélé, Désiré Doué, Barcola, Kvaratskhelia still create moments of unpredictability. Many talented individuals, but this time they do it within a system. PSG no longer just goes deep, they know how to finish the journey. In a decisive match for the crown against Inter, they did not crumble under pressure. They crushed their opponent with a completely dominant 5-0 scoreline.
Vitinha, it's a lovely ball through Doué, flag stays down, accepted by Hakimi. Up there, so is Fabian Ruiz and João Neves. It's Doué to hit one and it's in.
Vitinha has found Doué, it is delicious. You will not see a better goal this season. It's a goal.
And Dembele's got Kvaratskhelia in, and he's bearing down on goal, and it's 4-0. Barcola gives it back to him, and he's it's in. It's number 5.
There is a new name at the top table of European football. Paris Saint-Germain have won the Champions League at last.
In this season, English football has always been praised as a powerhouse, yet PSG also made Chelsea and Liverpool taste defeat one after another.
And then I said at the beginning of the game, if he clicks and they get upset, you're in trouble against Paris Saint-Germain.
2 great passes, 2 great decisions and 2 finishes. I mean, that's basically what they gave to this game, and it was too much for Liverpool.
It is no longer just isolated moments of brilliance. It is a system that can reproduce victory. That is repeatable football. Luis Enrique arrived and created a completely new PSG. A PSG that no longer depends on a single superstar to solve everything. They operate as a system where every movement is connected, where every spacing is deliberately maintained, and where every action has a reason to exist. They are not built to win a moment, they are built to win an entire phase, and that is what makes the difference.
We have a very experienced team, younger, but with a lot of experience. That's why we won the Champions League last year.
PSG don't just attack, they set traps. Their spacing is always prepared for the next step. Their counter-press is not a reaction but a trigger, and the way they approach the opponent's goal comes not from inspiration, but from timing. When they lose the ball, there is no hesitation. One player immediately blocks the return pass, one cuts off the inside lane, and one steps up to win the ball back. The opponent thinks they have a chance to counter, but in reality, they have just stepped into a structure PSG had already prepared. And the moment the ball is recovered, everything is almost already decided. 2 passes are enough to stretch the defensive structure. A space opens up in exactly the right position, and the shot is taken before the opponent can reorganise. It is no longer a reaction, but a script. No longer randomness, but inevitability.
Dembélé. There's with the header into Barcola, and there's the only goal. On the back, Dembélé holding on, decided to go it alone, and scoring! Back in the starting lineup, back with a...
No one waits for the ball to arrive in order to shine. Every piece operates to keep the machine running smoothly. A system designed to control and suffocate the game right from its structure. When in possession, they are no longer a typical 4-3-3. The structure immediately transforms into a 3-2-5, even a 3-1-6, as Vitinha drops deep to form a flexible back 3. But possession has never been the final objective. It is only a tool for PSG to begin manipulating the opponent's structure. When Warren Zaïre-Emery drifts wide and the midfield creates an overload, the opponent is forced into an imperfect choice. Either hold the central areas and expose the flanks, or shift wide and open gaps between the lines. And whichever option they choose, PSG already have a solution prepared to exploit what remains. The entire system operates around a very simple yet brutally effective principle: pull you to one side to attack the other. On the left flank, Nuno Mendes pushes into the half space while Kvaratskhelia holds the width, dragging the entire defensive block toward the ball. But the very moment you get pulled there is when the danger peaks, because on the opposite side, Hakimi begins to appear as a free man, unmarked, uncontrolled, and with just one well-timed switch, the entire defensive structure is torn apart. However, what truly sets PSG apart is not how they exploit space, but how they create it. At the centre of the system, Ousmane Dembélé does not operate as a fixed number 9. He constantly drops deep, pulling centre-backs with him, while the players around him continuously rotate positions. The wingers tuck inside, midfielders make forward runs, and movement lanes overlap with one another. The result is not just that space appears, but that it appears at the exact moment and in the exact position PSG have already programmed in advance. Therefore, they do not create chances through spontaneous moments. They create them through a sequence of repeatable actions. Overload to shift the defensive block, open the half space, then finish with cutbacks or second line runs. Everything has logic, structure, and can be repeated.
They're attacking at speed, there's a lot of space, and when you have really elite players like this, you're going to score a lot of goals in this way. And so this is what PSG are trying to do. They want to have those big distances because it does open out the pitch. It makes it easier for them to generate goals if they can get through it. I think that this is the risk of if you're going aggressive at them, if you get it wrong, even if it's just a couple of times, they can really punish you.
But if you think that is the peak of this system, then you are looking in the wrong place. The most dangerous moment of PSG is when they lose the ball. They do not drop back. They do not reset. They immediately switch into a high-intensity man-to-man pressing state. The front three lock down the back line. The midfield marks tightly, and players like João Neves ensure there is always cover behind, while Hakimi blocks the escape passing lanes. The difference is that this is not individual pressing. This is structured pressing, coordinated pressing, where every action is supported by a layer of protection behind it. As a result, the opponent is left with no options. There is no free man, no short passing lane, and in the end they are forced to go long. But even that is accounted for, because PSGs have already occupied the second ball positions. And when they regain possession, everything happens almost instantly. Just one or two passes, and a finishing opportunity appears.
But exactly, but I think that speaks to how dominant PSG were. The fact that they'll be annoyed with 2-0 is because they clearly should have won that game 3 or 4.
Yeah. This is different where you're like, no, there is a golfing quality. Even if we try our hardest, we can maybe get a goal or two, but PSG could easily just go up the other end and score within the blink of an eye, and then you've got to score 3 minimum.
That is when you start to understand the real problem. It is not that PSG are too good in any single aspect, but that there is no way to oppose them without paying a price. Press high, and they break through you with overload structures. Sit deep, and they pull you out of shape before attacking the half space. Double team on the wing, and they free the spare man. And if you lose the ball while your team is pushed up, you are no longer defending players. You are defending an entire pre-designed run path. The most dangerous area for them is just outside the box, in the half space where the winger, interior midfielder, and false 9 form a constantly shifting triangle. PSG do not search for space there. They build it step by step until the opponent's defensive line is forced to break its own structure. And then the worst part is not how many goals they score, it is that after about 20 minutes, you are no longer playing your own game. You stop reacting to their pressing, their spacing, their tempo. You are no longer controlling the match. You are being controlled.
You talk about dominance. You talk about men versus boys. Guys, Liverpool did not deserve to be on the same pitch as PSG today. They did not belong on the same pitch as those 11 PSG players, because they were beat in almost every single category imaginable today.
But wait a second. All of this is only when PSG are playing under their own conditions. The Champions League does not always allow that. PSG still haven't won it again, and ahead of them is Bayern Munich, not just an opponent, but a completely different type of match. And if you want to understand just how dangerous Bayern really are, click the video in the top right corner of the screen. This video is more entertaining than watching Anthony do a 360-degree spin, so click it. If PSG represents structure, control, and pre-designed patterns, then Bayern are the complete opposite. Intensity, physical duels, and moments that follow no script at all. The problem is that PSG system is strongest when they can control the tempo, when they have time to set their structure, shift the opposition and build traps. But against Bayern, the rhythm of the match does not stay stable. It is pushed higher, broken apart, pulled into a state where everything happens one step faster. And in that state, PSG's biggest advantage begins to erode. The match is no longer a matter of positioning, but a matter of physical duels. One-touch actions, combination triangles, deliberately created spaces, all of it demands absolute precision. But under constant pressure, just one delayed beat, one slightly loose touch, and the entire chain of actions can collapse before it is even completed. And then the paradox appears. PSG are one of the most dangerous teams in Europe in transition. But Bayern are the same, even more direct, fewer touches, faster, and when space appears, they don't need to build a situation, they finish it. That means the very high line, the attacking structures PSG use to suffocate opponents, can also become the exact point where they are punished if they lose the ball at the wrong moment. At a deeper level, this is also a matter of match DNA. Bayern Munich are not just accustomed to high-intensity games, they are built within them. Chaotic moments, 50-50 duels, situations where the match loses control. These are not risks for them, but their natural environment. For PSG, however, this is the toughest test, whether they can maintain structure when the match no longer has structure at all. Because a system, no matter how perfect, still depends on synchronization. One misaligned piece, one uncovered gap, one press with the wrong timing, and the entire mechanism behind it gets stretched. And that is the exact moment Bayern wait for. Bayern Munich will act as an extreme test of PSG's system's ability to withstand pressure on the road to defending the Champions League crown. And if they manage to overcome Bayern Munich in a match like that, it is no longer about form. It is about class. That is the key point, because PSG's journey is not just about how well they play, but about which tests they have overcome. They showed absolute dominance when facing Liverpool and Chelsea in the knockout stage. But Bayern is a completely different story this season. They are strong, extremely strong, but not without weaknesses. They push the intensity very high. They play direct. They turn the match into a non-stop chain of actions. And that very approach also opens up spaces. The question is, do you have enough composure to exploit those spaces before you get dragged into their rhythm? And this is where everything becomes interesting. This match is almost certainly not going to be a one-sided control game. It will be open exchanges, a back and forth, moments where both teams can hurt each other. But if the game is pulled into Bayern's chaos zone, where everything is faster, sharper, more direct, then PSG will need more than what they have shown so far. Not just structure, not just tactics, but the ability to stay themselves when the game no longer allows it.
This is going to be really tough. You know, Bayern Munich, they're trying to win their first Champions League since 2020. They have massive hunger. When you look at that team, Kimmich has a UCL, Neuer has a UCL, Musiala has a UCL, but as a bench player. So there's so much hunger. Everyone is excited. Kimmich on facing PSG. The two best teams in Europe will face each other. I'm looking forward to it.
Defending the Champions League title has never been a normal achievement. In the modern era, only Real Madrid have managed it between 2016 and 2018, when they won it 3 times in a row. To replicate that, you don't just need a system better than your opponents, you need something that goes beyond tactics. Pressure, the pressure of expectation, the pressure of every single moment, the pressure of no longer being the hunter, but the hunted. And when you enter matches like these, sometimes what decides the outcome is no longer how you play, but how much you can endure.
To do what the Real Madrid has done, to do what the Milan has done, I mean, that's legendary in its own right.
Yeah, Messi couldn't even go back-to-back. You know how difficult that is? It's easier said than done.
So what is the real question? Will PSG win the Champions League again, simply because they peak at the right moment? Everything clicks, form hits its ceiling, and every opponent falls at the right time. Or, deeper than that, has the style of football they are building become strong enough to survive in any circumstance on any stage, even when the match no longer unfolds the way they want it to? Because if they get past Bayern Munich, not just by winning, but by still maintaining their structure, still preserving their identity, even under the highest possible pressure, then the meaning of this entire journey will change completely. It is no longer a run of peak performances, it is no longer a season that simply arrives at the right moment. It becomes a standard, a new benchmark for how a team controls the match, controls emotion, and controls its own fate in Europe's most unforgiving competition. And then you realise something. In the Champions League, the hardest opponent has never just been a team. It is a system complete enough that you cannot break it, even when you understand it. If you enjoy our video, don't forget to hit like to help this video reach to other football lovers, and hit the subscribe button to follow for more interesting videos about football stories. See you in the next video.